Welcome to Fact of Unseen. The fog hung low over Carver's Hollow, a sleepy New England town where Halloween was more than a holiday. It was a way of life. Every October, the townsfolk transformed their streets into a spectacle of jack-o'-lanterns, cobwebs, and eerie lights, drawing tourists from miles away. But the heart of the celebration was the old pumpkin patch on the edge of town, owned by the reclusive Carver family for generations. Its sprawling fields produced pumpkins of unnatural size and vibrant orange, their twisted vines seeming to writhe under the moonlight. Locals whispered about the patch, about how the soil was too rich, how the pumpkins sometimes glowed faintly at night. But no one spoke of the curse aloud, not until Mia Thompson arrived. Mia, a 28-year-old journalist from Boston, was chasing a story. Her editor had sent her to Carver's Hollow to write a fluffy piece on the town's Halloween festival. But Mia sensed something darker beneath the surface. Online forums buzzed with cryptic posts about missing tourists, strange lights in the patch, and the Carver's odd behavior. She rented a room at the only inn, a creaky Victorian run by a cheerful widow named Mrs. Langley, who warned her to steer clear of the patch after dark. "It's not safe," she said, her smile faltering. Mia brushed it off as small-town superstition. Her first day in town was October 30th, 2025. The festival was in full swing. Children in costumes roamed the streets, vendors sold caramel apples, and a band played spooky tunes in the town square. Mia interviewed locals, snapping photos of carved pumpkins with grotesque faces. Everyone was friendly, but their answers about the patch were evasive. "It's just a field," said a vendor, avoiding her eyes. "Nothing special." Frustrated, Mia decided to visit the patch herself. The Carver farm was a mile out, accessible by a dirt road lined with gnarled oaks. As she approached, the air grew colder, the fog thicker. The patch stretched endlessly, pumpkins dotting the ground like bloated glowing orbs. At the entrance, a weathered sign read, "Carver's Pumpkins. Pick at your own risk." Mia smirked, assuming it was a Halloween gimmick. A man emerged from the mist, Ezra Carver, the last of the family. He was tall, gaunt, with deep-set eyes and a voice like dry leaves. "You're the reporter," he said, not a question. Mia nodded, explaining her article. Ezra's gaze lingered too long. "Stay on the paths," he warned. "The vines don't like trespassers." She laughed nervously, but his expression didn't change. Camera in hand, Mia ventured into the patch. The pumpkins were massive, some as big as tires, their surfaces etched with intricate patterns that looked almost deliberate, like runes. The vines were thick, pulsing faintly, and she swore they shifted as she passed. The deeper she went, the quieter it got. No birds, no wind, just her footsteps crunching on frost-covered soil. Her phone signal died, and the battery drained rapidly. Unease crept in, but she pressed on, determined to find something worth writing about. At the patch's center, she found a clearing. A single pumpkin, larger than any she'd seen, sat atop a mound of earth. Its surface was smooth, almost glossy, and carved with a face so lifelike it seemed to watch her. Mia knelt to photograph it, but as her flash went off, the ground trembled. Vines snapped up, coiling around her ankles. She screamed, yanking free, and stumbled back. The pumpkin's carved eyes glowed faintly, a sickly green light. "Leave," a voice whispered, not from the pumpkin, but from the soil itself, a chorus of rasping voices. Heart-pounding, Mia ran, vines snapping at her heels. She reached the path, gasping, and glanced back. The clearing was empty, the giant pumpkin gone. Ezra stood at the entrance, watching her. "Told you to stay on the paths," he said, his tone flat. Back at the inn, Mia couldn't shake the experience. She pored over her photos, noticing something chilling. In one, the pumpkin's face wasn't carved. It was blank. Mrs. Langley, bringing tea, saw the image and paled. "You shouldn't have gone there," she murmured. Pressed for answers, she relented. "The patch is cursed. Been that way since the first Carver Amos made a deal in 1692. Blood for bounty. The soil demands a sacrifice every Halloween or the crop fails. Tourists go missing sometimes, but we don't talk about it." Mia's journalist instincts kicked in. She researched at the town library, digging through dusty records. In 1692, Amos Carver, accused of witchcraft, had vanished after a trial. The patch began producing unnatural yields soon after. Every few decades, disappearances spiked, always around Halloween. Names, dates, faces, a pattern of lost souls. One article from 1925 mentioned a glowing pumpkin that swallowed a child. Mia's stomach churned. Was the patch alive? That night, Halloween Eve, she couldn't sleep. The inn's walls creaked and her window rattled as if something scratched outside. She checked her phone. No signal. Battery dead, despite charging. Then she heard it. A low hum, like a chant, coming from the direction of the patch. Against her better judgment, she grabbed a flashlight and snuck out, drawn to the mystery. The patch was transformed under moonlight. Pumpkins glowed faintly, their carved faces shifting as if alive. The vines writhed, forming paths that led her back to the clearing. The giant pumpkin was there again, its face now a twisted grin. Around it, shadowy figures stood, locals, their eyes vacant, chanting in a language she didn't recognize. Ezra was among them, holding a knife that gleamed red in the light. "You saw too much," he said, stepping forward. "The soil's hungry. It chose you." Mia bolted, but the vines were faster, snaring her legs. She fell, flashlight rolling away. The chanting grew louder, the ground pulsing beneath her. "Feed us," the voices hissed, now inside her head. She clawed at the dirt, fingers brushing something hard, a bone, human, half buried. Horror surged as she realized the patch was a graveyard, its soil fed by sacrifices. Desperate, she grabbed a jagged rock and hacked at the vines. They recoiled, shrieking as if in pain. The chanting faltered, and Ezra lunged, knife raised. Mia dodged, scrambling to her feet. The giant pumpkin's glow intensified, its mouth opening wider, revealing a void within. Hands, spectral, claw-like, reached out, pulling at her. She kicked free, running blindly through the patch. The vines pursued, lashing like whips. Pumpkins exploded around her, spewing rancid pulp. She reached the road, collapsing as headlights appeared, a truck driven by Mrs. Langley. "Get in," the widow shouted. Mia climbed in, trembling as they sped away. Behind them, the patch glowed brighter, a chorus of screams echoing. Mrs. Langley explained, her voice shaking. "The Carvers made a pact with something old, something not human. The patch feeds on blood to thrive. They pick outsiders so the town stays safe." She handed Mia a journal, yellowed with age, stolen from the Carver house. It detailed the ritual. Every Halloween, a sacrifice was buried alive in the patch, their life force fueling the soil. Refusal meant famine, disease, death for the town. Mia wanted to leave, but her car wouldn't start the next morning. Halloween. The town felt different now, the festive cheer a mask. Locals avoided her gaze, and children's laughter sounded hollow. She tried calling her editor, but all lines were dead. At noon, a parade marched through the square, culminating in a bonfire where pumpkins were burned. Mia noticed Ezra watching her from the crowd, his knife glinting in his coat. She hid in the inn, barricading her room. As night fell, the chanting returned, closer now. Shadows moved outside her window, human shapes, but wrong, their limbs too long. She clutched the journal, reading Amos's final entry. The entity in the soil cannot be killed, only sated. Burn the patch, and it will take us all. At midnight, a knock came. "Mia!" Ezra's voice rasped. "It's time." The door rattled, vines slithering underneath. She grabbed a candle, setting the curtains ablaze. Fire spread, and she fled downstairs, out the back. The town was alive with chaos. Pumpkins rolled through streets, vines strangling lampposts. Locals screamed, some fighting the vines, others joining the chant. Mia reached the patch, gasoline canister in hand, stolen from the inn's shed. She doused the vines, the giant pumpkin glaring at her. "You cannot stop us," it whispered, its voice 1,000 souls. She lit a match, tossing it. Flames roared, consuming the patch. The ground shook, a howl erupting as the giant pumpkin burst, spewing black ichor. Shadows writhed in the fire, their screams fading. By dawn, the patch was ash. The town was silent, survivors huddled in shock. Ezra was gone, his knife found buried in the soil. Mia left Carver's hollow, her story unwritten. She never spoke of it, but the journal stayed with her, a reminder. Years later, a new patch sprouted on the same land, pumpkins glowing under the moon. And on Halloween night, 2027, a tourist vanished. The curse, it seemed, was only sleeping.